For some reaction from Israel, we can cross now to Jerusalem and speak to ABC News correspondent Jordana Miller. Jordana, that speech, of course, taking place in the middle of the night for Israelis, but has there been any reaction to what we heard from Kamala Harris? And just more generally, what do Israelis think of her?
Well, first of all, there hasn't been any official reaction from any lawmakers or the prime minister, and people are, listening back and reading into her speech. I would say that there were no major surprises in Kamala Harris's speech. What she said was largely consistent with what we've heard from President Joe Biden, and that is that the war needs to end, that they're working around the clock to that end, that there's been too much suffering in Gaza. And it's important that we pay attention to the language that Kamala Harris used, which is, again, the language Joe Biden's been using for 4 years. And that is that Palestinians deserve integrity and security and a kind of coexistence with Israel. She stopped short of calling for a Palestinian state. Of course, she didn't mention any arms embargo. And she reiterated the United States position, which is their ironclad commitment to Israel's security and the commitment to ensure Israel's that it always has a kind of military edge here in the region, that it will always have what she called the ability to defend itself. So I don't think there were any major surprises here. Now, are Israelis nervous that Kamala Harris may take a tougher stance on Israel if she is elected? They are. They are nervous because she is, they believe she may be more influenced by the far left parts of the party. Though I think we've already seen Kamala Harris move more to the center on the issue of the Gaza war. Remember, for many, many months, it seemed that she played the kind of bad cop to President Joe Biden's good cop. He supported Israel. Kamala Harris would talk about the suffering in the Gaza Strip, the hunger, the desperation, the people that are constantly on the move there, and of course, the huge toll it's taken on the innocent lives that have been lost there, right? The death toll recently surpassing 40,000. So I think, Israelis, there was nothing that would alarm Israelis from her speech, but they worry about what might come if she becomes the next president of the United States.
And meanwhile, U.S. mediators are involved in those efforts to secure a ceasefire deal in Gaza, those efforts ongoing in Cairo. Are mediators getting any closer?
Well, that's a great question, and we don't really know the answer. We know that clearly President Biden's phone call with the Israeli prime minister had some impact because less than a day later, he sent the head of the Israeli Mossad, the spy agency, David Barnea, and a high-level delegation to Cairo, where he's meeting with U.S. officials. Brett McGurk, the special envoy of the president, is meeting there with Israeli and Egyptian officials, and they're focusing on how to, hammer out a compromise that will satisfy Israel's security needs along the Gaza-Egyptian border. This is a key security interest for Israel, right? The Israeli prime minister wants to keep some kind of Israeli military presence along that border and make sure that it no longer becomes a kind of gateway with all of the smuggling tunnels that the Israelis have discovered, a gateway for weapons and materials which would allow Hamas or other militant groups that might pop up to rebuild their military capabilities. So that is a key issue. And right now there's disputes between Israel and Egypt on how many troops will be there, where they will be, how many watchtowers will go up, are sensors technology enough to secure that border? The U.S. Offering all kinds of solutions. They want Israel and Egypt to agree to something, and it's very likely the allies will, right? They have a long-standing peace agreement. And then it'll come the challenge of Hamas, right? Everyone hoping and really with their eyes on later this weekend, hopefully Sunday or Monday, a larger summit led by CIA Chief Bill Burns, a second opportunity to make some progress and build on the summit in Doha.